show without Janet.
Oh, she'll be lucky you.
You're welcome.
She'll be disappointed. I don't know if you are.
The telethon sounded very exciting.
Talkathon.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Talkathon.
Yeah.
Talkathon.
But
yeah.
there used to be telethon. I remember those days.
Yeah.
But I think people should just be... I wish we could be more in communities together and talking and stuff like that, because everyone's getting so virtual these days.
Yeah.
And we're all locked in our own isolated world. And I don't think it's a good thing that we're going to have 4-day weeks and everyone's going to work from home.
Well, so many young people now work from home.
Yeah, but that's so bad, because that's...
social interaction.
We've got to interact all the time, I think.
But do you know, even with Rupert, we had time. Yeah, and actually we discussed this so much as the talkathon went on, is that even on this show we're restricted with time, with commercial breaks, etc. Is that time, if you give people time, then people open up, even if it's just a friend. We have a catch-up, phone someone up, saying how you doing.
And that even goes down to walking in the street and saying good morning to people and stuff like that. It really helps.
Do you do that? Because people look at you like you're mad.
I do, and some people, because I walk my dogs very early in the morning, and there's a few people around at about 6:30, 7:15. Some will say hello. Others will just walk right through you. But the hello is it's a warming and it's a connecting kind of thing, and it's really important.
And it's so easy. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, exactly. And
actually,
looking
I think
at people.
dogs bring people together, don't they?
Well,
I've
dogs
met
are great,
more people where I live, once I got my dog, of other dog walkers and stopping to say hello, and then you find out they live 3 doors away than I did before I had a dog.
Well, in LA, that's a big dating thing. They have these dog parks, and I have friends that literally go to the dog parks.
Oh, yeah, today?
Just to date, right? It's like a thing. They, like, pick up people, and then some people borrow other people's dogs that aren't theirs to try and meet people at the dog park.
I mean,
it's
I'm
a
not
thing.
sure about that.
Cruising with the poo bag.
Cruising with the poo bag and the poodle.
Listen, it's a while since we've seen you. First time you've walked through our big double doors,
Yes,
can I say?
last time I came to Waterloo.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
Long
you've
time
changed
ago.
a lot.
Long time ago.
It's lovely, always lovely to see you. You're here today to always talk about everything with you, but you've got a new book, The American No.
That's right.
Please explain the title.
Well, The American No is a collection of short stories and of stories, of pitches that I made for films over the years. If you're an actor and you want to be proactive, you have to try and think of ideas for yourself and then pitch them to people. And a friend of mine, a producer, coined this phrase, the American no. And what happens sometimes, in Hollywood, for example, you go and pitch your story and there's a group of people rather like you and you're on the other side and you tell the story and you sell the story and you're really up and they're all laughing and joking and someone leads you out at the end with their arms slung over your shoulder and says, you're a great fit for us, Rupert. We love you here at Buttermy Bay Productions. And you leave the place walking on air. You think it's in the bag. You buy a new car or a house. And then you never hear another word. And that is called the American no.
And how many American no's do you think you've received?
Trillions. And the thing is, but I mean, that's life in our business. It's full of knocks. And I think the actor Keane said, theatre is not for those who bleed easily. And that's show business is not. You have to have a thick skin. And what I think now is, you know, because it doesn't get any easier, by the way, either, I've just decided that you have to try and find a way of keeping going, keeping fresh, not getting too embittered. That's the other thing that's dangerous. You can get upset by endless rejection, but at the same time, it's not personal. So
how do you deal with that rejection, then?
Well, not well. It's just not easy, you know, because you spend a year thinking up a story, writing a script, and then people then say, no, it's not going to happen. And, of course, a script doesn't really exist. If it's not made into a film, that's it, it's dead. And that's why I had this idea for this story. That was my move, in a way. I thought, at least I can give these stories some kind of life by putting them into a book.
Was there one script in particular that you were really gutted about not having made into a film?
When Titanic came out, I thought, oh, I must make my own Titanic. And I kept kind of trying to figure out a way. And then I read this story about British people called £10 Poms. And right up until the 1970s, or 80s, actually, people could emigrate to Australia and they'd only pay 10 quid to go. And you went on these creaky old liners, old cruise ships, and the boats stopped in Lisbon to pick up Portuguese, then in Naples to pick up the Italians, and finally in Greece to pick up the Greeks. And then you went on to Australia. And so I think my favourite story was this one, which is of a young guy from Ireland, Anglo-Irish, who loses everything and decides to become a £10 pom. And then there's this Greek girl, and this was another story I read somewhere. The Greek girls used to get married in Greece, in little churches, but with no husband. The husband would already be in Australia, and they possibly never met the husband either. And these poor little girls would be married on their own, a ring put on by the priest, and then they'd be taken to the harbour and put on the boat. And I thought, God, this would be such a good subject for a love story.
Yeah.
So it's a love story between this lost man who's left Ireland forever and this Greek girl who's got married and she's going to marry. She's already married, and it's a love affair that can't work out because she's very, very religious and she won't betray her marriage.
Rupert, what's all this about you don't like looking at yourself in the mirror?
Oh, my God, especially after sitting in my dressing room. There was one shot of me you had with jowls like a bloodhound. I hate looking in the mirror.
Oh,
and if I was
sad.
a little bit more gutsy, I would definitely have, you know, a proper lift.
You don't need it.
Oh, darling, you are sweet. No, it's just, the thing
It's
is...
sad to think that you think that.
I would just like to have a jawline.
By the way, Rob does that all the time in the mirror. He just kind of goes,
just
we all do
babe,
that.
he
We all
goes,
do
babe,
that.
I
babe,
don't mind
this
it all
looks
looking
better.
wonky round here, but what's very bad, especially for an actor, is you want to have a shadow under there.
But also, probably in your profession, you have to see yourself a lot. And
I
do you
never
think...
see myself ever.
No. Do you not watch things
No,
that?
I can't. When I was young, I used to love it because cinema is really made for young flesh because the camera lights on young... Light sits on young flesh, everything works well. Eyes... You don't need to do anything as a young actor because just a twitch of your eye shows people what you want to do. When you're an old actor, you have to do that to make anything...
Flap it around.
You know, you've got two little raisins kind of peeping out of a huge folds of flesh. And that's why all old actors overact. I realise. You can't just say, I'd like a cup of tea. You have to say, I'd like a cup of tea!
I need to ask you what your favourite movie actually is. Do you have one? Because you've...
Oh, my favourite, all-time...
Yes.
Well, the movie that made the most difference to me in life was definitely Mary Poppins, followed by The Sound of Music. Julie Andrews, for me, when Julie Andrews dies, I think I will throw myself on her grave.
Weren't you in Shrek together?
We were in Shrek together. We'd been in 3 films together. And I thought when I saw Mary Poppins for the first time, I thought, God, this is my mother. I abandoned my own family. They were incredibly boring. And I told everyone at school that Julie Andrews was my mother. And cut to, almost 25 years later, I'm in a film playing her protégé as a violinist, and I have to go and do rehearsals with her. And I told her the story. She was a bit shocked.
Listen, so many stories. The ones that didn't make it to the big screen, sadly, are all in Rupert's book, The American No.
Yes.
Well, they'll regret it one day.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
hey, don't buy it.
Rupert
they'll regret
Everett,
it.
everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.